Hey everybody, I'm JB. We're at JB's Lake Park Cafe with Fitness, Food, and Faith. I'm going to show you how to make a great cup of coffee, the pour-over method. Now that Starbucks has lowered themselves to political correctness and made their establishment a refuge of everyone, I'm sure that's going to really do great things for their businesses, and I'm sure it's going to really backfire. So I'm going to show you how to make a great cup of coffee for a fraction of the cost in the comfort of your own home, and you can probably save a couple $1,000s a year if you did so, and this will be the best coffee that you've ever had. I'm going to be using Hawaiian Kona. Now, I don't recommend this for everybody. This is $80 a pound. I did not pay $80 a pound for it. I know a coffee roaster over here on the West Loop, and I get it for like $10 a pound. That's because I know the owner of the company. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to boil some water. I got some already going here. I'm going to pour this over in this, slurry right here to kind of warm up the craft and the funnel. I'm also going to use a little bit of the hot water to kind of warm up the cup. It's kind of nice to do this in the winter time, so you have a nice warm cup of coffee. Now what I used here was a filterless cone, but I put a filter in it because I don't like to spend the time cleaning out this filterless cone. But you can buy this for like 30 bucks. It'll last you 30 years, and you can buy 800 filters at one time for 40 bucks or so. So it only comes out to a few cents a filter. And then of course I got like a laboratory beacon here that you can buy at a Surly table for 10 bucks. Or you can use an old French press or an old pitcher, whatever you have. But this is what I got, and this will make the best pour over coffee. And the great thing about doing pour over coffee and not using a machine is that you don't have all the corrosion, and these are all non-porous materials, so you don't have a buildup of corrosion, and the pipes get clogged and you have to clean them out. And this will make for a really great cup of coffee. And also I'm using a filter, so it's really going to make it clean. And the reason also why I'm rinsing this filter out is to get all the impurities out. Now this is a brown filter, not the white bleach one, so you're not going to get a bleach taste. But again, I'm just going to do what I do is I just do a quick round here, warm it up. So I got the water all boiling, and then you just take this out, let that sit there for a little bit. I'm going to be using 16 grams of coffee per 18 ounces of coffee, about 16 ounces of coffee. This is an 18-ounce cup. I put about 16 ounces in there. I got a scale here, got my coffee all sealed up in this little container here. And I put in, this little cup weighs 25 grams, so I'll make sure that weighs 41 to make it a total of 16 grams. And then I'll just put that right in there. Grind it. I already have some of it ground, so I don't have to spend about a minute or so showing you. It takes about 66 revolutions. Oh, I can smell that coffee already. It smells delicious. So I'll swirl that around a little bit, pour a little bit more in there, get it nice and piping hot, pour the 16 grams of coffee in there, and then what I'll do is I'll put just about an ounce of water in here and let the coffee bloom. And blooming creates the coffee actually to bloom. You'll see it kind of expand and puff up. And you'll see little bubbles in the bottom there, and that releases all the gases. So it's very important that you do that. You let it sit for maybe 30 seconds or so, and that coffee will just kind of puff up and bloom. It's kind of hard to see right now, but once you do it, and you're only going to see the blooming effect if you use fresh roasted coffee that's been used within a couple weeks. If you don't, you're not going to see the blooming, and you probably don't have a very quality good beans to see the blooming. Now that it's bloomed a little bit, I release the gases. I'll start the pour over method. I warm this up to 220 degrees boiling. I let it sit for a minute or so, and it reduces the heat down to about 195 to about 202 degrees, which makes the perfect temperature for pour over coffee. And then while it's draining down there, I'll kind of keep the water warm and just kind of take turns and fill this baby up. And you can see the coffee dripping down. The aroma of this coffee is just spectacular. If you're not using fresh ground coffee, you're really missing out on the experience of having a great cup of coffee, because if you buy ground coffee, it's probably been sitting in a warehouse for 30 days. It's already lost its freshness. It's already lost its strength. It's basically, really bad coffee. It is drinkable, don't get me wrong, but if you really want great coffee, you're going to have to go to a local roaster, not your Starbucks. I don't like Starbucks. I never went to Starbucks. I don't like Starbucks, just for the fact that they are in some donate money to organizations that I'm totally against. So I'd rather support a local proprietor that serves coffee, that's supporting their families and the local community. So Starbucks is off my list. And with now that it's a refuge for people to go into, hang out, use the bathrooms. We got here in Chicago, probably the homeless will make that their new home, washing up. I think it'll really do a lot of bad things for their company. I think the stock price will go down, and I don't think it'll be very good. They really sunk with this political correctness, has actually ruined our country from political correctness. So I'll finish this up, pour over one more little bit here to finish it off. I would never normally let the coffee grounds be exposed to air, but since I'm talking on camera, I just let that happen. So you'll want to keep a constant amount of water in this cone. They call it a slurry, is a technical name for it. You'll see this done at Intelligentsia Coffee. They'll do the pour over method. But you'll also need a special pitcher with a nice spout to give you a nice streaming pour. So this only takes a couple minutes. I'm doing this tape, obviously. It's going to take a little bit more time, but I can warm this water up on this induction stovetop, which is actually heated by magnets. I can warm up coffee faster than a microwave. I don't even own a microwave. Microwaves are terrible for your food, for your body. Good chefs don't even use a microwave. If you have a microwave, I'd highly recommend donating it to the junkyard. But this water will warm up in about 2 minutes, boiling water. So it only takes like 5 minutes to make a great cup of coffee, pour over. This is a Zessenhaus coffee grinder. They started back in the 1800s. I also have a Peugeot that would start out making coffee mills. They also make an automobile. This cost $150, but the great thing about it is it's a burr grinder. It's not loud, and when you grind it here, you can smell the coffee being ground, and it doesn't burn the coffee. If you have a blade grinder, that's just going to burn your coffee and cook it before it even gets brewed. You're actually ruining the coffee by using a blade grinder. So I highly recommend getting a burr grinder. You're going to spend some good money for it, but it'll be well worth it. And you can set it for the adjustments of what kind of coffee you want. You want a press coffee, espresso, pour over, flat bottom coffee drip, cone drip. You can set it to each measurement, but I just have a cone drip, and I can adjust the grounds here. So now that I have this all poured out, I have a little thing here that I keep in there to kind of keep it funneled so it doesn't tip over in the sink, and then I can just dump this out in my Starbucks trash chute that I ingeniously designed into my condo when I designed it. So it's easy to throw in the trash. The next thing you're going to want to do is you want to kind of swirl it around like this to let it breathe. Once it's breathed, you pour it right into your coffee cup. This is nice and warm. This is a smaller cup than 16 ounce. I just wanted to show you here. You can smell that cup of coffee. Now that is a great cup of coffee. So again, I recommend making your own coffee, saving yourself a lot of money. This cup of coffee, 16 ounce, probably cost about 25, 30 cents to make. So if you're making cup coffee for two, about 50 cents. If you went to Starbucks, you'd probably spend $7. You times that by 365 days a year. And you and your gal could probably take a nice little vacation from the money that you save. It's not being cheap, it's being efficient, not waiting in line with all the mass people waiting for their coffee. The time that you actually wait in line at a Starbucks, you can make it at home. You can put it in a to-go container and bring it with you if you drive or take a bus or a cab. So again, pour over coffee is the way to go. I'm JB at JB's Lake Park Cafe. This has been brought to you by Naughty Bracelets. Dare to wear naughty. It's not just a bracelet. It's a statement. You make a statement when you wear a naughty bracelet. Have a great day, everyone.